Hello there, I'm Michael Jackson, mean Rosen. I'm here to tell you all about the importance of art. The topic today is YouTube poop. I think it's very funny when people take my poems and mix them up to say funny things, such as I like to fuck my sister and fiddle diddle with kids. Oh, it's ever so clever. One of my favourite genres of music has to be gangster rap. You'd think, being a man in his 70s, I wouldn't listen to such filth, but I like to listen to it because it reminds me of the days when I used to sling dope on the streets. Also, I used to blast my motherfucking gat at anyone who looked at me funny. Pop, pop, bitches. It was a wonderful time filled with splendour and fun. These days you cannot do such things. I blame millennials and political correctness. When I talk about politics, the kids say, OK, boomer, why do you go home and listen to Led Zeppelin or whatever it is that you old buggers do these days? I find it very offensive, as I think Led Zeppelin are a very good band. They're better than the rubbish you get on the radio these days. I can tell you, Billie Eilish, give me a break. That bitch cannot sing for shit. Anyway, I was on a train to Hull, and this bloke turns to me and says, "Come on, kill me." Well, not one to refuse, a stranger proceeded to take a knife and put him out of his misery. What I mean by that is I got out his fucking throat. As I'm writing this, the police are currently looking for me. Of course, I'm joking. I'm in London and no one takes stabbing seriously here, but if you use the wrong pronoun on Twitter, they bash your fucking doors down. Will you believe it? The things people do. A minor request I have is, actually, for the Pennsylvanian dick riders to stop making poops of me. It's not funny anymore, and my work hasn't been relevant on YouTube for over a decade at this point. Just leave an old man in peace. I can't fathom for a moment what is funny about the words plum snatch and the common mispronunciation of the word nice, which often sounds like noise. Sometimes, for the sexual thrill when no one's around, I stick my finger in my butthole. I also sit on my hand for an hour until it goes numb, and then masturbate with it so it feels like a stranger's doing it. What a fantastic thing to do. One day I was jacking it in the bathroom but failed to lock the door. My son Eddie came in and saw me in the middle of my masturbation. I told myself he is to die, so I slapped him until he stopped breathing. I then chopped his body into tiny pieces and fed them to the dog. When my wife asked me where Eddie was, I simply feigned ignorance. Later on I bought a dead pig from the nearby nursery and put Eddie's clothes on him. I waited on the highway for a speeding car to go by and I threw the pig in front of the car. Oh, what a terrible mess it made. So now everyone thinks Eddie died during a car accident, but only I know the truth. Well, now you do too. So you also must die. Sleep with one eye open, bitches. Once my friend Harry Bow came to school and said, "I identify as gender non-binary, my pronouns are they, ze and ze," to which I replied, "Haribo, there's no such thing as being non-binary. We are a sexually dimorphic species. You're not a fucking tree." He said, "Respect my pronouns, you bigot. Stop being transphobic." I sighed. "If you just put your head out of your ass for 2 minutes and stop reading The Guardian, you might realise the real world doesn't give two shiny shites about your fucking pronouns." "Don't worry," said Brian to Haribo. "Everyone knows Michael is a Tory voter." I said, "Is that right? At least I don't vote for the Communist Labour Party." Anyway, that's how I got into politics. Just so you know, I don't actually care what your opinion on politics are. One controversial thing I will say, however, is that I once got into a heated debate with my brother. I told him that I didn't think Dark Souls was all that great and that Bloodborne was way better. He said to me, "You just don't like it because it's too hard for your little pussy self." I said, "Just because a game is hard doesn't make it good." "Bloodborne is for queers, Dark Souls is way superior," said my brother. At that moment, the nurse came in with our pills and a tray. "Are you both still talking about video games?" he asked. "You're in your 70s now. Why don't you both get a life?" I said, "Look, bitch, I'm only a few years away from death. I've already lived my life. Why not get off my back and suck my motherfucking dick?" When I was younger, I saw my brother having a pee, and I noticed he was still uncircumcised. How disgusting. You know that an uncircumcised penis makes you winky smell of fish, and it creates dick cheese. I couldn't stand the thought of my brother's smegma. So, while he was sleeping, I went downstairs and found the sharpest knife I could find. I snuck back up to our room and peeled back his covers of all. I pulled his pyjama bottoms down and began to slice, ever so carefully. Suddenly, I felt a tickle on my nose, and I sneezed. When I recovered, I realised I had completely severed my brother's dong. Whoopsie-daisy. Next time I shall leave it to the rabbi. I've realised my mistake, though. I tried to tape it back on with Scotch tape, but the bloody thing wouldn't stick. So I decided to use staples. Annoyingly, one of the staples ruptured one of his balls. As I tried to pull the staple from his right nut, I managed to rip off his entire ball sack. I clearly underestimated my own strength. I certainly learned something that night. and that was that my brother was a very deep sleeper.